John Gotti, one of the most recognisable figures within the mob underworld, has a great tale of rags to riches. Known as the Teflon Don, he rose to notoriety in the 1980s, taking control of the Gambino crime family, one of New York's 5 families. His lush lifestyle and public persona captivated many, but unfortunately for him, also law enforcement. This documentary explores Gotti's rise in organised crime and the series of events that ultimately led to his arrest and conviction. Born October 27, 1940 in the South Bronx, John Gotti was number 5 of 13 children in an Italian immigrant family. Growing up poor, Gotti experienced a shaky childhood rooted with hardship and instability.
Gotti's father was neglectful and failed to provide for his large family. I can remember how often John and I talked about the failing and unfair system, and his father definitely contributed to that mindset. When we turned 13 or 14, John kept talking about street life and his desire to join a local Brooklyn gang. I didn't really share the same dreams as John, so we drifted apart, but that didn't stop me from hearing his name. At 26, John had already been arrested several times for petty crimes, including theft and hijacking, where he landed himself in federal prison for 3 years. From what I heard, his criminal career continued to escalate through the 70s as he became more involved in the Gambino family, eventually participating in high-profile hits.
Gotti's rise to power began with the assassination of his predecessor, Paul Castellano, in late 1985. This rogue move was not sanctioned by other crime families, creating tension within the mob community. Assuming power, Gotti's desire for security and control led him to dip his hands in every cookie jar. Murder and conspiracy to do so, racketeering, illegal gambling, loan sharking, bribery, tax evasion, and every type of obstruction of justice were his bread and butter. His monopoly on crime satisfies his hunger for power, but also funded his lavish lifestyle he had always dreamt of. Despite his obvious involvement in crime, Gotti maintained a strong public image, throwing lavish parties and engaging with his community. This publicity garnered him local support, but also landed him in the crosshairs of law enforcement. Fast forwarding to the late 1980s, Gotti managed to beat serious legal action for various charges, including racketeering and assault. His ability to win trials led to his infamous nickname, Teflon Don, suggesting that no charges could stick to him. However, this nickname caused ex-director of the FBI, John Mueller, who was early in his career, to intensify his investigation on Gotti and his family.
In 1990, we made a significant breakthrough when we successfully bugged Gotti's Ravenite social club. The recordings we captured had incriminating conversations that would later be pivotal in building a case against him. Among those recordings were discussions that implicated him several murders and other criminal activities.
I don't know what position you know, how you felt. No, I'm only sick of what I hear. I heard it again today. I heard this guy. That's right over there. It's a friend from over there. He was a mixologist. He's a friend. They just found another guy. Another friend is back. 2 friends of that from over there. An old timer and a guy about our age, like the 47 bracket. And an old timer. I don't know any my old timer. They're bringing the both of them over here. And they got depositions and board tapes. They got video surveillance, corporal or something. They're going to these crazy things. Not only that, I understand we have a full degree of some fucking thing. Guilty. Trying to, that's going to come out. The friends are in it. And his back and forth. You know what we got to do? I won't be surprised if this fucking kid. It's he's got the reason I'm going to get whacked because that don't belong to us. That's their fucking crew. And he's got to get whacked because he's getting the same for the same reason that Jelly Belly's getting. You want to challenge the administration? You will meet the challenge. And you're going, motherfucker.
The turning point in our case against Gotti and the Gambino crime family came when Sammy, the Bull Gravano, Gotti's underboss, decided to cooperate with me and the other investigators. Unhappy with Gotti's leadership and fearing for his own safety due to some rumours on his life, Gravano agreed to testify against Gotti in exchange for a reduced sentence. This betrayal marked a significant shift in the prosecution strategy we would use. During the trial, Gravano provided detailed accounts of Gotti's involvement in murders and various other crimes. The evidence presenting was overwhelming.
April 2nd, 1992. John Gotti was prosecuted and convicted on 13 counts of differing illegal activities, including 5 murders. He was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole, an ironic end to the Teflon Don. The once untouchable mob boss was renamed by law enforcement, known as the Velcro Don. Gotti's downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of ego within the underworld, with his public persona ultimately leading to his undoing. John Gotti's life is a legendary story involving ambition, power, money, and betrayal, transitioning from a small-time crook to one of America's most infamous mob bosses, with his tale illustrating the dangers of power and corruption and how even the invincible can be overcome.